the week essentially began with the news on Monday from Rich Paul, LeBron's agent and the Clutch Sports CEO. I'm wondering what your interpretation of the statement of LeBron wants to compete for a championship. He knows the Lakers are building for the future. He understands that, but values a realistic chance of winning it all. We are very appreciative of the partnership that we've had for 8 years with Jeannie Buss, Rob Pelinka, and consider the Lakers as a critical part of his career. I was saying on Monday that if you had handed me that statement without information as to whether LeBron had opted in or out, I would have said, after reading that statement, he's opted out. But he has, in fact, with conjunction that statement, opted in. What's your 2 cents on all of this?
Well, my first reaction was it struck me that LeBron wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants to collect the $53 million, which he's entitled to, which, by the way, he's worth 3 times that to the NBA and the Lakers organization. And he wants the Lakers to do right by him if he decides he wants to play somewhere else. Look, LeBron could have opted out and made $15 million per year anywhere. Could have made more in some situations.
15?
15, anywhere, right?
Okay.
Like a lot of teams don't have the financial flexibility of like a Brooklyn or a Detroit at one point. Some teams might have only been able to offer that kind of high exception that's available. So he could have done that, but he wants to get paid and he wants to collect the full amount of his contract. So I read that as him saying, or as his team saying, all right, yeah, we're going to opt in. We're a Laker right now, but in the weeks and months ahead, if this team doesn't look like it's going to compete for a championship, we are certainly hoping that Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka are collaborative with us and try to find a destination that LeBron would want to be at.
Okay, so this is I'm entitled to 50 some odd million. This is the only spot where I can get it that has a chance to win a championship, right now. But improve the team. Otherwise, I will then walk in your direction and say I want out, and hopefully you will collaborate. That's your read of that statement.
That was my read of that statement, yes.
Okay. So is DeAndre Ayton, in your estimation, being dropped out of the sky by the Portland Trailblazers buyout gods? Is that something that you think is a step in that direction?
I think it's a step in that direction. I think it's a small step in that direction. The Lakers, to me, right now, are an incomplete on their offseason because I do think there's more to come with the Lakers. They've got some expiring contracts on their roster that they can deal. They've got some draft capital that they can still deal. Remember, they rescinded that deal for Dalton Connect at the trade deadline last year. They still have the assets that were part of that trade, and they've got Austin Reeves. If they, and Austin Reeves, I think, has the potential to be an all-star, but there is some overlap in the skill set of Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. So I think there's still more to come with the Lakers, but thus far, the offseason, I think, has been underwhelming. You're basically flipping Dorian Finney-Smith for Jake LaRavia. With all respect to Jake LaRavia, that is a step back. Jake LaRavia is a backup type of player. Dorian Finney-Smith has proven he is a starting caliber player. You bring in DeAndre Ayton. I would agree with people that would say that DeAndre Ayton was the most talented of the crop of free agent centers that was out there. That doesn't mean he's the best fit. Like DeAndre Ayton has been a lob threat sort of in Phoenix when he played with Chris Paul, but DeAndre Ayton is primarily a post scorer. Like, he wants the ball in his hands. That was kind of what caused some of the friction with him and the former Phoenix Suns coaching staff there. So you're bringing in a low post scorer to play with LeBron and with Luka, who are guys that are ball dominant players. I don't think it's a round peg, round hole type of fit. I've seen some of the Lakers now have the number 1 and number 3 pick in the 2018 draft. I love that. I do love that. But it's, to me, it's going to be an interesting fit with a guy that plays a way that I don't think complements LeBron and Luka in the same way a Clint Capella would complement them, more of a rim running type of guy. Brook Lopez, a 3-point shooter who's used to being the 3rd or 4th banana on a winning team. Like, those two players, to me, would have been better natural fits.
Okay. So, but Lopez signed with the Clippers.
Which is weird, man. Like, he got basically a 1-year deal with the Clippers. You're letting. I don't like that. That felt like the one that got away for the Lakers. Like, they seemed focused on getting the replacement for Finney Smith and LaRavia. I feel like LaRavia would have been out there or available if you're going to offer him that type of money. I thought a center should have been a priority, and Lopez to me just makes a lot of sense. Like,
but he's shooting threes though, right? I mean, don't you need, if you're the Lakers, you need somebody who's stationed down low, certainly, You
think?
I don't know.
I mean,
you tell me.
No, I mean, I think you want as much floor spacing as you can get. When you have two guys that operate in space as well as any two players in the NBA, getting more shooting, getting more floor spacing has got to be a priority. The Lakers, look, they emphasized this last season under J.J. Redick, getting their three-point attempts up, providing LeBron at that point with more shooters. Brook Lopez can do that.
Yes.
Like, he's a depreciating player. He's in his late 30s right now, but I like the fit of Brook Lopez in L.A. more than I like the fit right now of DeAndre Ayton.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.